Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another tutorial for you guys. I've had this request for a long time now, so I decided let me get it done. I have a lot of people asking, is there a faster way to do retouch than the dodge and burn technique that I use? So I'm going to show you another technique that I use when I have to do something really quick. It's not recommended by me. I still prefer my dodge and burn. I would still recommend learning dodge and burn if you have a professional retouch to do. But if you have an image that you just want to do a quick retouch on because you want to post on social media or so, this is a technique you can use. It's frequency separation, but I'm doing it a little different than the others do it. Some do it this way too, but this is a different technique. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this layer twice. So we're going to duplicate the background layer by hitting Command J or Control J on a PC. So for me it's a Mac, so it's Command J. So I hit that twice. You get two copies. You're going to hide layer 1 copy. You're going to hide this one and you're going to select layer 1. And with here you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Noise and Median. You can set shortcuts for these things, guys. I have mine set to Command B, so you can always create a shortcut. So when this opens up, you're going to want to select a median that, all right, let's just get technical for a little bit. It depends on how much texture you have in the skin. Like for this image, I don't have much texture because this was shot at a shallow depth of field at 2.8 on my 24 to 70. So there's not much detail in the skin. So for this one, and when you're choosing a radius, for me, what I have noticed is when you choose a low radius, like if you choose something like 3 and it's like this, and you select that and then you add the texture, because layer 1 copy is going to be the texture above. When you start to work on the skin layer, on the color, on the skin tone layer, it's going to smoothen even the texture. It's not going to retain as much texture. The more radius you add, the more texture you retain. And this is what I've realized from me working on it. And it also depends on how much texture you have in the skin already. So when you're doing this, you have to play with it. For me, I choose a radius that removes completely everything of the texture so that I can retain more texture in the layer 1 copy. So for me, 13 looks good. So I'm going to leave it at 13. And now we're going to select the layer 1 copy and put it back on. So you see here, you can see the blur. When you put this one on, you're not seeing it's back to the original. So here now you're going to select the layer 1 copy from this list up here, your blending options. You're going to select linear light, and you're going to go to image, you're going to go to apply image, and you are going to, from the drop down list here, you're going to select the layer that you blurred. So you're going to select layer 1 copy. From the blending option here, you're going to select add, and your scale will be set to 2, your offset is 0, and you're going to invert the image. So when you do this, you will see that we come back to square one. But what it does is it retains all the texture and hides all the color. So all you're getting from this layer is just texture. This technique, this one here, is for 16-bit files. You have it for the 8-bit files as well, which is you would go to subtract and you would have here scale 1, and I think offset is 128, and you tick off the invert. So you see the difference. This is, I'm using a 16-bit file. So let me check something here. Let's just make sure. Okay, so it's offset, yeah, it's offset 2 or 1, I think it is. Hold a second. Yeah, so let's go back because I'm using a 16-bit, so I don't want to use that for it. So I'm going to select linear light, go back to apply image. Yes, and as you can see, 2, so this is for 8-bit file, subtract 2 and offset 128. That's if you're using a 8-bit file. But I'm using a 16-bit file, so I'm going to put this back to add and invert. And you click OK. All right, and from here, I always duplicate this layer just in case I make any mistakes. I can always just mask it out, but I still have this here. If you work on this and you have a mistake, guess what? You have to start all over again. So I duplicate this layer, and let me show you guys something here. So if I hide these, you see this is what the gray layer is. This is what this is. This is just the texture. Okay, so as you can see all the texture remaining in the face. All right, so let's put these back on. And now we're going to work on the skin layer, which is the layer 1 copy 2. So here I'm going to select, in the brush, I'm going to select my mixer brush. And my settings I have are 2, 2, 2. The flow is 11. You want to make sure that sample all layers are checked off, and you have it selected to just the invisible or clear brush. And from here, I am just going to brush the skin. So let's zoom in. So with this technique, all you want to do is you just want to make it even. You just want to make the skin tone even, the transitions even. So like here, for example, let me zoom out a bit. With this line, I would not like it. Now with this technique, guys, you can go overboard. I'm not telling you how to do it. You have your own style. Everyone have their own style, so you do it how you like it. But people like to keep things natural. Some like to go overboard. That's personal preference, and you can play with it how you want. All right, so this is how I want to do it. This is my style of doing it. You guys, I'm just showing you, and then you guys can take it and do it however you want to do it, okay? So what you're going to do now is you're going to drag um, colors to blend them. So for example, this dark spot, I don't want it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag from the clear and bring it into the white, into the dark, sorry. So I'm dragging the clear into here to remove it. Okay, and that's all it is to it. So as you can see, it's now dragging over. Or what I do mostly is I just do little circles like this, and I just drag and bring over, drag and bring over. So I'm dragging the clear into the dark to remove the dark. And I'm just mixing everything to give that smooth transition. Now don't worry about it looking smooth or it looking fake, because we have the texture on top that's going to come back into play just now. So all you're doing with this is the skin tone you are mixing to get it evened. So all I'm doing is just making little circles over the rough patches or the inconsistencies just to blend them in. So as you can see here, I'm doing little circles just around where the inconsistencies are, or the blemishes, to make everything match seamlessly. This is a very fast and easy technique, guys. As you can see, it's almost done already. Alright, so for me, this looks good. Let me show you the before and after. So this is the before and the after. Before, after. So you see, how easily you transition everything into make it a smooth and nice transition. All right. So for example, here I removed some of the lips. This is why I told you to make a duplicate just in case. So for here, I can see I brushed into some of her lip. Not really, but I still want to make sure. So I'm going to create a mask here. I'm going to select my brush, make it a little smaller, and it's white, so you're going to paint black. So I'm going to paint black and remove some just in case. Well, I didn't paint over it, so that's good because it's not removing anything. Okay, for me that's good. Then what you're going to do now is turn on your texture, and voila. See, all the texture is still there. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do now, you're going to select your stamp tool. Make sure you're on current layer and not current and below, sorry. And you're going to make sure your right click, make sure your hardness is all the way up to 100. And you select a very small brush because you're not going to want major changes. So a very small brush, and you choose clean parts of the texture and you just brush over the little blemishes. Always keep resampling, guys. So as you can see, I'm always resampling different parts to make it not look like it's all sampled from one spot. So you're just removing little blemishes from like little pimples or whatever there is. As I told you guys in the beginning, this was shot at 2.8, so there's not much texture. If it was shot at, let's say, f4 or something, you would see more texture in the skin. But I didn't mind for this because it's a fast shot, so it's not like you're going to see the texture anyway that much. And I wanted this depth of field in the background. There you go. If you want to remove like the hair, you can also remove the hair. So like I said, you guys can play with it and do with it how you want the look to look. The look to look. You guys can go for the look that you want. Let's remove this right here. And right. I'm going to sample here and remove this right here. Oh, I think I messed that up. So let's do this over. Careful where you're sampling from, it's going to show. So do this here. All right. That's looking good. All right, so the neck, I'm going to remove, like I say, you see, it's easy to do because it's separated. So you have the texture and you have the skin tone colors below. So I'm just removing the texture from the line from the neck. See, I'm always resampling because you want the skin tones to be different and not the same. So I'm always resampling. Okay, let's zoom out. And let me show you guys a before and after. So you just hold Option or Alt and you click this one and it will remove everything above. So you can see the before, you keep it down and you click it again and you'll see the after. So here's the before, here's the after. Quick and simple. Let's see one more time if I need to fix anything else. So before and after. And for me, this is good already. You know, it's a quick technique. It's not to say you want to go deep into it. So let me just brush a little more here. So I'm going to select back the mixer brush. I have the shortcut for this as N. So I'm just going to fix right here. Here. Also depends on the model's skin. She already has good skin, so that helps a lot. Okay, let's see how this looks now. Put back on the texture. And this looks good. This looks good enough for me already. If you want even the lips, guys, even the lips, let's zoom in just to show you. So you can see here, she has like a dark spot here and a light spot here. So even on the lips, you can just even that out. And you don't have to worry because the texture is there. So then now you can always just use the stamp tool and make it small. Just replicate it. This is a way you can do it. But for me, these little spots here or stuff, I would use dodge and burn. So I would create a new layer. Right here, you can create a new layer, and then you're going to, from the blending options, you're going to choose soft light. And on your keyboard, okay, let me see if I can remember how to do this without the keyboard. So you're going to go to Edit, and you're going to go to Fill. I know all my shortcuts. Like I would press Shift and Delete, and it will open up the box. So you can always have your shortcuts, guys. So you go to Fill, and from Contents, you're going to select 50% gray. Everything else remains the same, normal and 100% opacity, and you click OK. This is going to add a gray layer, and here you are going to use, well, for me, I use the Dodge and Burn tool. So I select the dodge and burn. I have it set to mid-tones and exposure is anywhere from 4 to 6. And you're just going to dodge these little areas. And if you want to burn, you just hold in the Alt or Option on the Mac. Hold it in and it will switch between the dodge and burn tools. So I want to burn, so I'm just holding in the Option. And as you can see, I'm burning now instead of dodging, even though it's selected on the dodge. So I'm just switching in between dodge and burn to even out the lips. So whereas light, I'm removing, and whereas dark, I'm dodging. And there you go. So let's do a before and after. So before, after. And then you can always add some depth to her lips by burning to the bottom. And to the bottom of the lip here. I'm just evening out the lips. Whereas dark, I'm lightening, and whereas light, I'm just blending them in. I'm going to burn here a little bit. And then I'm going to select highlights, and I'm going to add some highlights to the lips right here, just to make it pop a bit. Always zoom out, guys, so you can see how much you're doing, because sometimes you can't do too much if you're zoomed in and you're not noticing it. So always zoom out to see the difference that you're making, as you can see. So I'm going to go back to midtones, and I'm going to burn here. All right. This is looking good. I'm just fixing little imperfections that I can see. I'm a perfectionist, guys. I always see little things and little details that need to be fixed, and always want to perfect it. Sometimes you want to leave a little bit of imperfection to make it look natural, but that depends on your style. Once again, it's your style, it's how you want your image to look. So I'm just burning the eyebrows. Okay. And even the eye, if you want, you can dodge in here just to give it a little bit more highlights in the white. Let's see how it looks. Always zoom out and check. So let's turn this off, on, off, on. And if you want to add, for example, more contour here, you can always burn a little bit in. You can burn some here. You can burn the edges around the head, just to add some depth to the image. So see it before and after, before and after. Okay, and when I took this shot, the catch light in her eye, it didn't catch on this eye, so I'm just going to add one back in. So I'm going to use my brush, and I'm going to zoom in, and it's there, but it's just not bright enough. So I'm going to select my white, minimize this, and just, let's do this over. Just add a catch. Ah, that's too big still. Let's add a catch light here, and let's brighten this here. Let's see how it looks when it's zoomed out. There you go. Let's see if I can make this a little better still. You can make this, okay, let me show you guys how to make this perfect instead of just trying to do it like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the elliptical marquee, and I'm going to make a smaller circle to give the illusion of an octobox, and then you're going to paint in there. So I'm going to select the brush, and I'm going to, I'm going to make the brush bigger and just paint in here. Then I'm going to deselect by pressing Command D or Control D, and I'm going to do a next one here again. right over here. And if you want to move it, you can hold in the shift while moving the box. Okay, so I'm going to select my brush, paint another one in here, and hit Command and D again. And let's zoom out and see how this looks. And then you can always just lower the opacity. So let's bring this down to 40. Let's say 45. There you go. So you have some nice catch lights. If you want, you can even, let's see if screen works good with this to blend it in. All right. Let's bring this down to 40 because I don't want it to be too much. Just enough. Okay. So there you have some catch lights. Catch lights in the eye. All right. So now we're going to color grade, which is all, again, it's all about preference, how you want to do it. So you can select. For me, I'm going to show how I do my color grading, but you can always do it how you want. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to select my selective color. I like to add blues to my images. So it depends on how you want it. So I would go to my blacks, and then I would slide the yellow over to the left to add some blues. When I'm color grading, guys, I already have an image in my head as to how I want the image to look, the final image to look. So like, for example, I want this one to look a little bit of autumn, like autumn or fall, sorry, fall. So I'm going to change these green leaves. I'm going to try and make them red. So I already added the blue. So I'm going to create a new selective layer again. And I'm going to select my yellows because there's always yellows in the greens. So I'm going to make this, bring this up. I'm going to slide this over to this side, and I'm going to add some red into this. Don't worry about the changes you're seeing here because you can always brush that out. And I'm going to select the greens, and let's see how I want to make the greens. It's all about playing with it, guys, and getting the look that you want. Sometimes you have to do more than one layer just to get the look that you're going for. So I'm going to do it again. Go back on the yellow, add some more. There you go. Bring some more red in. More yellow. Oh, that's looking beautiful for me. Okay, so now I'm going to mask out the colors from her. The beautiful thing about using selective color is it only attacks the colors that you chose. So like the yellow and the green, it's all that it's going to affect. So it's not like if you use a gradient now and you want to brush it out from her, you're going to worry about brushing off some from the image or so, or like that. So this works perfect for me. Let's see if I did any with the greens. Yeah, let's put some more into the greens. Add some red. All right. So now I'm going to mask her out, use the brush, and you're going to paint black and just mask her out. And this is a cool technique. If you just want to copy this mask out into this one, you just hold down the Option or Alt, you drag it over, and it will just copy it into it. All right, let's add a little bit of haze. So I'm going to go to Curves, and I'm going to select my blue channel. I'm going to bring up the blues here, and I'm going to bring down the yellows here. Not too much, bring it up a little bit. If I want to make it a little more intense, I can drag from here and bring down. That's looking nice, and I'm going to bring up a little bit more blues in her face. Awesome. All right, so let's see. This is the before, this is the after. Okay, and I'm a lover of film. Recently, I've really loved the film look. So let's see how it looks in this. Not sure if I'm going to add it, but I'm just going to see how it looks. I might remove it. So I'm going to select exposure, and I'm going to drag this offset up to, let's see, 84. Let's see how it looks. Nope, let's choose 42. See how that looks. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's see if I can lower the opacity a bit. Yeah, to 50. That's beautiful. All right. So here for me, this image is already good. What some people would do if they want is to add a vignette around it. That might look good for me, so let's see how that will look. I'm going to create a stamp layer, so you're going to press Shift, Alt, Command, and E. On a PC, to be Shift, Alt, Control, and E. And it's going to take all the information from below and create a stamp layer with everything. So from here, let me select back this tool. So from here, I'm going to go to Filter, and you can either use camera raw or lens correction. So I will use lens correction, and I am going to go to custom and bring the vignette in. Let's see. All right, let's see how that looks. Click OK. And there you go. One thing I forgot to say, guys, is always save. Always save your images. Oh my gosh, I have done this so many times where I would not save my image, and then Photoshop would freeze on me or something like that, or just close and I lose the image and I have to start over from scratch. So always remember to save your images. So let's see the before and after with the vignette. So that's before, this is after. All right, guys. Let's see. Her skin is looking a little bit too yellow, so you can always play with that as well with selective color, and you can choose the yellows, and then like on the channel here you have yellow. You just slide this over to the blue, and what it will do is remove the yellow from her skin tone. So let's see here. 20 looks good. All right, and I'm going to invert this by hitting Control I. So what it does is it hides everything from the whole image, and I'm just going to paint it back in where I need it. So I'm going to paint it back in on her face by using white on the black, and just paint this back in just over the face. And this is the before and after, which looks good. All right, let's see. What else would I do? Her face looks a little bit too bright than the rest of her body, so I'm going to select brightness, and let's lower this down a little bit. All right, and I'm going to invert it again and just paint where I find that's too bright. So on a hand, here, a face, yeah, that looks a lot better. Let's bring down the opacity just a bit. 70%. Okay, that looks awesome. All right. If you guys want, like say for example, her, because I darkened this down a bit, so you can always brush out from the hair. Okay, you can always brush out from the hair to bring back in the highlights if you don't want it this dark. But for me, I like it. If I want, I can always create a next new layer, and I'm going to put it on soft light again, hit shift and delete, get the 50% gray, and I'm going to use my dodge tool, and I'm going to select highlights and just paint over where I want to brighten. But this is, when you're doing this, you have to do this before you create a stamp layer, because you want this to be underneath all of these grading that you did already. Because if I do it now, what it's going to do is it's going to, as you can see, it's going to create this blue haze, which is not good. So I'll just delete that and leave it at that, because for me this is good. If you want, there's another way. Again, you can do it instead of using dodge and burn, you can use the curves and also do it like that. But always do it underneath of your grading. Your grading should always be the last thing that you do. Alright, so guys, that's it for this tutorial. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just hit me up in the comment section. And if you like this, hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you have any other tutorials you would like to see, just let me know in the comments and I can get that done for you guys as well. Alright, so until the next one, peace.